Alright guys, the day has finally arrived. The upcoming Asphalt Unite patch notes have been finally released, and today we will get to know all what the upcoming update has to offer, including the new track Chicago, a few new cars which I can already tell you guys that are fairly bad in general, and most importantly for some of you, another chapter of the Drive Syndicate. There is plenty of stuff to review, so I think it's about time to stop talking and just jumping into the information of this new update, which in my opinion is easily one of the worst ones I have seen in a while, as I will explain to you soon. So let's get into it. Okay, so first of all, you need to know that the new Festive Fury season will start the 11th of December 2024, which is the next Wednesday, and one of the key features announced within the patch notes is a collab with the metal band Avenged Sevenfold, as well as the new Chicago track, a new boss mode, and the team racing mode we got to know last week on the roadmap. So if you want to know the specific details about the things I have just mentioned, I have left you a video in the description right below this one, in case you didn't get the chance to see it before. So after seeing all of this, let's dive into these new update cars, starting with the Porsche 911 Turbo 50 years anniversary, which is said to be this upcoming season Legends Pass car, and as you can expect from a Legends Pass car itself, we can clearly appreciate that it has quite mid stats except acceleration, which is somewhat decent, but well, it's not like we will use this car that much, so it will be another dust collect, which is nothing new among most of the Legends Pass cars we have on this game. Then we have the only Grand Prix car available during this upcoming update, which is the DSE-10's Performance, which for being a D-Class car, I have to admit that it has quite solid stats, which could set this one as a new king in case those stats properly correlate with the performance on track. The top speed isn't massive, but the acceleration is, and the nitro isn't bad despite the handling is nothing out of this world. Okay, so moving on to the next car, we have the Jaguar GT, which will be the first Drive Syndicate car we will have to unlock, and like all the other Drive Syndicate cars we have to start with at the very first chapters, this is a car with only one purpose, completing the first races of the Drive Syndicate, and that's really it. You could use it to troll around in multiplayer once the Drive Syndicate ends, but that's really it. Next one, if you didn't have enough with the Pininfarina Batista and the Rimac Nevera clones we got at the previous update, you shall not worry. A clone of the D-Class Ford Mustang is making its way to Asphalt Unite, and we are talking no more and no less than about the Ford Shelby Super Snake, which I believe it will be related to the Avengers Sevenfold TLAs that will appear through the update, but that aside from that, it certainly looks extremely similar to the other Ford Mustang we have on D-Class, just like with some stat adjusted in order to properly fit within A-Class, with a great acceleration of course, handling and top speed, but a quite average nitro, and that's really it. It might not arrive through the time limited event I have just mentioned, since the patch notes don't explicitly say it, but it would just make sense, so take that with a massive grain of salt, since there is no confirmation of how this Shelby will appear in game, just like the next car, which is the Pininfarina Teorema. There is absolutely no clue about how this car will arrive yet, but I think everyone can confirm that this one has a terrible acceleration and a really bad stats for a car that high in terms of rank within the S-Class, that basically makes it a filler car, virtually and well, literally useless in most aspects of the game. Right after this one we have the McLaren Sabre, which will be the A-Class car we will need to unlock and upgrade up to 4 stars in order to move through the specific chapters within the next Drive Syndicate, and regarding its stats, this one definitely has a massive acceleration, decent nitro, quite slow top speed, and in general it's similar in rank placement to the DBS Zagato, so I can expect a similar performance more or less. At least it will be more useful than the first Jaguar XCR GT we will have to use within the first chapters of the Drive Syndicate. And at last but not least, we will have the main dish of this update, which, I will be honest, it feels like a clone of an already existing car within this game, and I'm talking about the Rare's Tartarus, a car some of you told me that will be the main Drive Syndicate 10 car, and which I honestly thought it was a joke at the time, but that apparently was a true information all this time. This car, which was announced a few days ago and which is from a brand basically nobody knows, which makes me suspect that all of this is a marketing stunt paid by the brand itself to gain some attention, and this one is said to be the new highest placed car in terms of rank of Asphalt Legends Unite. When we have a look at the stats, we can see a Devil 16 clone, but with even better acceleration and even worse nitro than the Devil 16 itself, which at the top speed we are talking about makes this car not only unnecessarily hard to drive, but also especially tricky to maintain the top speed with, because you might have 90 points of acceleration, but on twisty tracks I can certainly guarantee you guys that not even that will save you, assuming you gold max this Tartarus, of course. One last detail you need to know is that this car is quite close to the floor, so I will definitely expect a drift more similar to the Faraday Future or the Asphalt Owl rather than something like the floaty drift the Devil 16 or the Hennessy Venom F5 have, which I'm sure will only make the Rise Tartarus even more a joke of what it already is. If we move to the special events part of this update, I added to you all guys the requirements for each one of them, and inside of the Drive Syndicate we can see that you will need, aside from the car I have just mentioned, the Maserati MC20, the Fragimento Asfane and the Koenigsegg CC850, cars that I have but that I still don't think will fully convince me enough to go and unlock the Tartarus. The requirements are quite high, like previous syndicates, so at least there will be some events to spend some time on during the main event, like a rerun of the Pagani Utopia and the Bugatti Chiron 300 Plus, whose requirements you can check on the screen right now. The McMurtry Sperling will likely come back as well, and you will need some extra cars, but let's remember that the McMurtry was nerfed, so it no longer has the blue nitro speed boost, making it not as fun as it used to be the rank where it's placed. Also, there will be the DS-E10's Performance Grand Prix and a Starway featuring the McLaren Speedtail. Also, on the screen right now you have some bonus events I thought that could be interesting for you all, like the Treasure Rush and the Car Hunts feature within this season in order. And in order to end with the final details of these patch notes, the Devil 16 is expected to be slightly improved, especially on the way it feels in general and how the car takes corner, so we will see how good it is once the update arrives. This, by the way, sets a precedent as the first car ever to be nerfed and then improved by Gameloft, so I think it's a quite big deal. In terms of quality of life, Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 5 players will have a much better support, and there will be menu navigation improvements through all the platforms, with the player profile available on the upper bar of the screen, as well as the daily tasks and the garage, which I think are good news for everyone. Also, there will be graphic improvements both on the garage lights as well as adjustments on tracks like Buenos Aires, San Francisco, Scotland, Rome and Cairo, so that's something I'm looking forward to see implemented within the game, especially on my iPad, since times of loading will be significantly reduced on iOS, and a correction regarding anti-aliasing will take place as well within the next update. And that will be basically everything, guys. I will be honest, I don't really think that this update is a fairly bad one. Yeah, sure, we have some quality of life improvements that should have happened months ago, but aside of that, the only good car people can aim to obtain regardless of their progression within the game is the DS-E10's performance, and that's really it. The Tartarus is the embodiment of everything what's wrong recently with the new car releases, featuring either clones or straight up terrible cars that are hard to drive and with a massive price tag as well. But there are great news for Gameloft, which I'm sure they will greatly approve. Starting the first half of this upcoming year 2025 and matching with the beginning of my internship and the end of my degree, I will slowly stop uploading and playing this game altogether, so I can't be extremely hard on them since my days left on this game are numbered, I guess. I will be looking forward to see your thoughts regarding this update on the comment section, and I'm looking forward to see your like as well, and I will see you really soon as usual with much more Asphalt content. Goodbye guys!